Aloha, it's the Real Ones. I'm Lisa Jones.
I'm Goldyn Duffy.
And we have a really exciting,
Dodson.
and that's right, and Fred.
We have Fred. We're so excited to have Fred today. This is so great. And our wonderful panel of judges and our wonderful MC. We're just rolling out this new Master Manifestors game, and we are just really excited to share this with everybody because it's going to be an up-leveling of expansion and growth together while we have fun.
That's right. And as we're going, I'm getting us live on Facebook right now. So this is, if you're listening right now, you are either listening on YouTube or on our podcast, and we are thrilled to have you here. So, but just stay tuned as we are just going live on Facebook, and then we will get this game show rolling.
You're like our pilot in chief here. Revving up the engines.
One's game show.
All right. I don't know if I'm going to see the thing. Did you see it?
It hasn't. I just hit the live button. Here we go.
Oh, hey, Facebook.
Aloha. Lisa Jones here and
Goldyn Duffy.
And
with
Fred Dodson.
Fred Dodson.
Woo! That sounded very game show-like.
That's right.
That was
so
good.
Cool. So we are here today live with you on Facebook doing this amazing Manifestor game show. And we have the amazing Fred Dodson with us, who we have raved about his book since we started our show, right, Goldyn? I mean, I know.
I've been a raving fan of Fred's for a few years. And when I say he's probably the #1 author who has changed my life, like the most, as far as identity creation and understanding universal law at a different level. So thanks, Fred.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Yes. And Goldyn shared your book with me, and then I've been listening to it on audio, and I also have the book, and I refer back and forth to it all the time. And it's really life-changing. So thank you for sharing your work with the world.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Awesome. All right. So Michael Duffy is going to kick us off.
Awesome. Well, guys, I am so happy to be here today. This is a very exciting time in our life because this is the very first episode of an amazing game show called Master Manifestors. So what I'd like to do first to get us going is to first introduce our judges. Our first judge is Pete. Pete is an amazing man and perfectly qualified for this position. Then we have Petey. Petey is a very exciting and dynamic woman, and I'm excited to hear what she has to say today. And finally, we have Diane, and Diane is a 10. As you can see, she's already got her cards up for scoring. So here's how it works. Here's the rules. We have some categories, right? The categories are going to be chosen, and the person that goes first is going to explain their best manifestation story from that category, and then the judges are going to go ahead and rate that score. The winner of each round goes forward to pick the next category. Next, I want to introduce our contestants, folks. This is such a treat. First, raving and coming from all the way from Maui, Hawaii, Miss Lisa Jones. So she's our first contestant.
Hello. Happy to be here.
All right. And then we also have Miss Goldyn Duffy hailing from Southern California. And we're excited to have you here today. Say hello to your audience.
Hi, everybody.
There she is. And our very special guest, Mr. Fred Dodson, hailing from somewhere in, I don't know where, the planet Earth. We're not sure where he is. He's currently in a mysterious location. But welcome, Fred. We're excited to hear everything you have to share today. So what's going to happen is we're going to have a few rounds, and the winner of this game is going to be crowned Master Manifestor. So let's get right into it. And who's going to go first? And let's pick a category.
Well, we've decided that Fred is going to go first because he is our guest.
All right.
I thought we just decided Lisa's going to go first. No, okay. Let's do it then. Yeah. Do I get to choose a category?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. I'll choose Quantum Leap. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, we needed the bells and whistles. Where are those?
Hold on. Do I have a bell around here? No bells.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll choose quantum leap.
Okay, so you share your first story about quantum leaping.
When I agreed to do this, I realized I'd have to share stuff that I've been reluctant to share. So I'd have to go that extra mile into the far out. The reason I've been reluctant to share it is because it's far out. So I've never written about it, never told anyone about it. But now I'm going to tell you, for the sake of, because I have to win. I'm competing. Okay.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm reluctant to share this one because it's also combined with some challenge and struggle. I've been banned from traveling to China because of it. So I'm not allowed to enter China. I'll give you the background. So once upon a time, this was a long time ago, there was this sister of a woman who lived in North Korea, and I helped this woman escape. I helped her cross the border and helped her enter China. So this went over about a period of about 2 years, and I kept instructing her sister what to tell her sister across the border, because getting across the border is difficult. Escaping North Korea is difficult. The only way to do it, normally there's guards everywhere, and if they see you, they shoot you. And the only way to do this is through rough terrain, you know, through nature, through woods, through a river, in fact, an icy, cold river. And that's the way most people do it if they escape. And then the second problem is, well, the first problem is surviving that. And the second problem is that normally when you enter China, then what? You know, people are faced with then what? Now what? You don't have a job. And many women who do that are actually sold into sex slavery. Okay, so it's a huge challenge. And I instructed her sister, so they had a way of communicating with each other. They had a way of sending messages to each other. But I had to get my instructions. So she thought, when she first contacted me, the sister who's in China, she thought I do magic. And she said, "Can you do magic for me?" I said, "Well, I don't do magic, okay? I'm a coach." And I explained to her what I do. I coach people. I don't do magic for somebody, but your sister, she's able to do something, you know, she can use her energy. So I'm not going to put a spell on anybody or anything. And I explained to her that I can help her. You know, I love the challenge. I thought I could help her, but it became very difficult over time. So I instructed this lady to go through the escape, the successful escape every single day for years, okay? Every single day. Just go through each aspect of the escape, crossing the river, you know, going into the woods, crossing the river. So I started looking online. I started looking into what it entails and researching people who have successfully escaped. I watched endless interviews. Actually, that she was supposed to do that, but she couldn't because the media in North Korea was or still is limited, you know. So I watched every documentary I could. I read books on North Korea just for the sake of my student, okay? And this is one instance where I actually did not ask money for coaching. So that's my part in charity. You know, I thought, oh, I get to do charity for once in my life, because I've been pretty selfish. So that one time I got to do something charitable. So that felt good. So I just went ahead with it. And she did receive the instructions, which was miraculous in a way. You know, how do you get information across the border? That was the first manifestation. I don't know how the sister did it. She was vague about it, but she did receive the instructions, and she did go through the whole thing, acting it out and visualizing it every single day. In addition, I sent her intentions, I sent her prayers, endless prayers. I myself visualized her succeeding, okay, and crossing the border. And after it finally happened, maybe 2 years later, about 2 years later, maybe 3, after it finally happened, I traveled to China to meet her, okay? And I traveled as a tourist, and somehow it came out. So there were people apparently, like some kind of agents or whatever, following me around, okay? And I didn't know. And it came out what I had done, and I had to go to the authorities. So I did meet her, and it was loving, it was great, it was beautiful. I had to go to the authorities, and they expelled me from the country and told me I could not return. No return, no return. So I had to leave, you know. And now when I travel, I travel a lot on seminars. I can no longer book through Hong Kong for my intermediate flight or whatever. I'm expelled. I'm banned from going. The lady is fine. She's well today.
Wow.
She's good. She's with her sister. She's reunited with her family. That's my quantum leap story. That's the story I've been very reluctant to tell, and this show got it out of me.
That's
Wow, how about that?
That
is
is
a fantastic
amazing.
story.
Wow. Wow.
That's a mind blower. That's a mind blower.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that is.
I'm not all that pleased with telling it, but okay.
No,
there
go
you
ahead.
go.
Well, now comes the real test, because we have our judges that are going to score your story. So let's go to our judges. Let's go to Pete. Pete, what do you give Mr. Dodson as far as a score for his amazing story?
Well, I mean, I was absolutely blown over by that story. I mean, quantum leaping is just, it doesn't even describe it. It's just amazing. The amount of time, the effort, the danger, the perseverance, the faith. I mean, that was just an incredible story. And, I'm really glad that you asked me to print out this number.
What is it?
It's like a 10,
See
ladies and gentlemen. We got a 10. Okay.
I'm going to give him 10.
Wow.
Right? Which, from a Brit judge, is pretty generous. If you think about my brother Simon Cowell, because he coached me on this.
The bar has been set. The bar
has been set.
He said, knock him down, give him 3. That's all. But I adore him.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you. Thanks for not knocking me.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Okay.
That's excellent.
And how about Petey? Petey, what do you have? What do you think of Fred's amazing story?
I'm going to say a 10 too, because this fact that this went on for years and the amount of energy that had to take, and then having to stand there and defend yourself to something that you didn't physically pick her up and walk her across, like you're trying to explain how you did this, and I'm not this bad person, but it's China, it's what are you gonna do?
Excellent. That's
Thank
2
you.
10s. Let's see if Diane agrees with the other judges. Diane, what do you got?
It's one of my favorite numbers. Okay,
number
and here's
10.
I do. I loved it. And one of the main reasons I loved it was because Fred was the one who sent the intentions and the prayers and actually visualized it. And I loved that part of it, how you can help somebody else manifest. It's not just about him, but it was manifesting for somebody else. So I love that.
Yeah. Ever since then, I always make sure to also see what the person wants to see. As a coach,
Right.
They're telling me what they want, and I imagine them that way. So I do believe that supports the person. Just
that might be the coolest message of that whole story.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, for other people.
Just like a teacher who has confidence in a student, it helps the student.
Absolutely.
Diane's our teacher, so she gets that.
Yes, very much so. And it really does change the student.
Absolutely.
I've seen it completely change a student.
Well, that's fantastic. So who is going to follow that? Let's go with Miss Jones, Miss Lisa Jones, our next contestant.
Okay.
And you're going to share with us a quantum
leap. Well, wow. I mean, it's really hard to follow that one.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
I've already expended my best ammunition, by the way. Okay?
I was gonna say.
You got to start
Realized the
strong,
mistake.
right? You got to start strong. That's
I was
good.
gonna say, I mean, that was like a life and death situation you shared, and
Yeah.
like, wow, I'm so happy you didn't get detained in China, because you know you've heard stories of that. People just get put in prison and never seen again. So I'm really thankful that, again, that quantum leap, that energy that you put out there really protected you, and you're here today because of it. So thank you. Mine is a little bit different. It was actually me coming to Maui, Hawaii. So I don't know. There's a big juxtaposition there, but yeah, it was all about me. And actually, so it started with my husband and I had been married about 11 years. And from the first time I met him, I said, you know, I want to move to Hawaii. After my first husband died, that was my plan. I was going to take my young children and move to Hawaii. I met my second husband 4 months after my first husband died, and we completely fell in love. He was a golf pro on the East Coast, and so the plan changed that we would move after the kids graduated high school. And it got to that point, and then he said, yeah, I don't want to move to Hawaii. And I'm like, oh gosh, you know, this is kind of, you know, bumming me out. So we ended up moving to South Carolina. Ironically, on the same day that the Duffys moved to California, I went to South Carolina, they went to California. And I was there for about 1.5 years. And it was not sitting well with me energetically. It wasn't where I wanted to be. And so just January after I turned 50, my husband looked at me and said, you're so sad. What can we do? And I said, move to Hawaii. And he said, well, listen, why don't you go make sure it's, you know, where we want to go before we move everything over there. And so I was like, oh my God, what a great idea. So I called a friend who was in Hawaii, and she connected me with somebody, and everybody was saying, oh, it's going to be really high season. You're not going to be able to find anything and all this stuff. Well, I made one phone call, and somebody said, well, I just got a rental that if you're open to it, we might have to show it because it's for sale, but you're welcome to stay there for that time. And I'm like, oh, great. And then he said, oh, and by the way, I have a friend who rents cars. So, you know, I'll set you up with a car. And I'm like, oh my God, that's fabulous. So then I called my friend and I said, listen, I'm like ready to go to Hawaii. It all came together so quickly. And I just don't have my ticket. I'm really afraid. She's like, well, just get on the line right now and book your flight. So I was talking to her and I did it, and I just stopped and like, oh my God, this is crazy. It's going from Savannah to Denver, which is where I was born, and then directly to Maui. I said, I've been to Hawaii so many times. I've never seen a flight that goes through Denver to Hawaii. And my friend said, oh, it's your mom who's up in heaven telling you to go to your new home, you know, like you're going from your old home. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. And then I went to click on it, and the price was $11,106 and 66 cents, which is my birthday, 11/6/1966.
Oh my gosh.
And I just about fell out of my chair, because that to me was, again, like, what are the odds that the price would be my birthday? And I'm like, buy now. And the rest was history, other than it's now my ex-husband, because he decided not to move here, but I came anyway.
Sometimes it's like that.
Yeah, sometimes it's like that.
Well, I hope not.
Leave the baggage behind. So anyway, it's not quite getting somebody out of China and saving their life, but hey, it got me to Hawaii.
Michael Duffy, you are not baggage. I would never leave you behind.
You might need someone to help you carry this much baggage, but well, let's go to our judges for the true score of Miss Jones' amazing story. By the way, that was a really crazy story, how the energy lined up and the birthday thing, and what a fantastic manifestation. So let's go to Pete. Pete, what do you have to say?
Okay, well, you really, you know, dropping me in and asking me to go first every time, but I will. I just, you know, I'm thinking, ask one of the girls and then I can get some tips, you know. It's like,
all right.
But you know, Lisa, I'm really impressed by that, because one of the elements in that for me was the fact that there was resistance to begin with from your ex-husband, you know, and that resistance really could have grabbed a hold of you, and you could have fallen into that and been overwhelmed by that, but you refused to let that stop you, and you continued pushing, you continued believing, and you were getting this guidance from the other side, which shows this really, really deep connection with universal energy. that you held on to and you followed, and you ended up being in your dream place on the planet. Divine providence helped you out. You ended up not being with this man who you thought you were going to be with maybe for the rest of your life, but here you are. And you know what? I'm going to make sure that you're really competitive and in the game. And for those reasons, I'm going to give you a 10 as well.
Oh, excellent.
Also because I'm a little bit of a suck butt, but that's only about that much.
Thank you, Pete. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Pete, for that. And how about you, Petey?
I'm gonna give you an 8 just because we didn't save a life in that one. Maybe yours though. Like I don't know. All the people that you're touching now, with this message. But I totally agree with Pete. I love that story because the resistance you were getting just made the desire grow stronger, and that's something that I'm still learning about. Instead of being kicked down by stuff, being kicked up by it, and then also being open to those signs that you were on the right path, and they're there if you're open to them, and your story really solidifies that for people. So there we go.
Thank you,
Great.
Petey.
Fantastic. And finally, Diane.
Okay, I'm going with the big 10 again. And Lisa, I loved it, and I'm such a big believer in signs, and the most important thing about signs is that you actually pay attention to them, and you did, and that it was such a great connection with your mom too. It gave me chills when you told that part, so I have to give you a 10. I love the signs.
Thank you so much. And it was so interesting. I was getting ready to get on the show, and as I was getting dressed, I looked over and it said 11:06 on the clock, and I'm like, and that's what dropped that story. I haven't thought of that story in years.
Wow.
And now I'm like, wow, I guess I'm supposed to share that story. So thanks, Mom.
Fantastic. All right. So we have our final contestant on the category of Quantum Leap, Miss Goldyn Duffy. You are up.
Woo! All right. So this is one of my my greatest. I'm gonna start like Fred did with one of the greatest. So when we went through a bunch of financial struggle back in 2008, and we actually had our cars repossessed out of our driveway. So we were in a situation where we didn't have cars, and we needed to go and get a loan, but we couldn't get a loan because we were completely bankrupt. So I had asked Michael's father if he would co-sign a loan for me. So he co-signed a loan for this cute little Mazda, and I took the car and paid it off for a couple of years. And then he came to me one day and he said, I need you to pay off that loan because I need to go buy my own car now, and that loan is in my name. So I said, okay, no problem. And I called the loan company to find out how much I owe on the car, and I owe $10,000. So I'm like, great, no problem. So we're still kind of working through our stuff. And I thought, it's going to be really cool to see what manifests from this. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I know it's going to work out. And that was the faith that I had moving forward. So at the time, I was actually reading Pam Grout's book. I forget the name of it. Anybody know?
E squared. E squared.
Yeah, E squared.
She said to put the universe to the test and say, in 48 hours, I fully expect a gift or blessing to come. So I wrote out my plan, and that night we had plans to go to dinner with this Catholic priest who I had converted to Catholicism with, but I was no longer Catholic. So he was going to dinner with us, and I was completely dreading it, thinking, oh my goodness, what is going to happen? He's going to try to bring me back, and I need to just, be myself and just, I have my beliefs now and they just don't line up. So we're having dinner with him, and it's kind of painful. We're in this restaurant, our kids are fighting, and I'm thinking, gosh, where is this going to go? And all of a sudden he says to me, I've done really well in my life, and God has been really good to me, and I have more money than I can ever spend. And he said, I just want you to know that if you ever need anything, you can ask me. And I was like, is this it? Like, is this it? So I took the night and I thought about it. And then the next morning I called him and I said, I need $10,000. I need to pay off this car and get it out of my father-in-law's name. And he said, he said, it's yours. He said, come down and I will give you a check, and there's no strings attached. You don't have to go back to church. This is a gift from me to you and your family. So I went and I paid off the loan and set my father-in-law free.
Wow.
Wow.
That is a great story. But one thing I would just like to say is you should have asked for more.
Right? Actually, that same priest helped us out when we moved to California and we were really struggling, and he sent us another $5,000. So
Wow.
he's been a very, very beautiful man in our life, and he's been an angel more than once.
Amen.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that was a great story, Goldyn. And but let's find out how great it really was. Let's go to our judges. This time, let's start with Diane.
$10,000.
Are you offering that for this 10?
Well, that 10,000 is gone. So.
All right. Well, I will give it a 10. And I feel like I know so many of your stories, but that one I didn't know. And I love what you said. I know it's going to work out, and that you wrote it down and you made your list. So I know it's going to work out. That's probably my favorite thing about you, because that's what you help me with so often.
I pretty much text that to you every day.
Yes, you do. Sorry.
Okay.
Here, make it 109.
All right, so we got a 10 from Diane. Let's go to Petey.
I'm gonna go with a 9 because I feel like I feel as a judge like some obligation to keep it like competitive here. But we all love each other, but it's a game show.
Thanks for keeping it honest, Petey.
But at the same time, though, one of the things that impacted me about that story is, yes, I mean there's support all around us if we're willing and open to it. At the same time, asking for help is so hard. And so even though it was right there and he's offering, I know how hard that must have been to ask and accept. And so that's big, I think.
Thank you. And you're right. You're absolutely right.
All right, so we got a 9 from Petey. How about you, Pete?
Are you writing these down, Michael?
Of course I am.
Okay. I want to make sure.
Okay, I really like that story, Goldyn. And one of the things I like about it is that, you know, you were in that situation with that priest and you weren't sure what he wanted. You know, you thought, is he going to ask me to come back to the church? And you were feeling nervous about it. You know, your life was where it was, and you needed that $10,000 loan to be paid off. And then he said, and then he came out with this, just out of the blue. Now, it takes an awful lot of courage to say, I need $10,000. I mean,
twice.
You did it twice. See, I was only going to give you 5, but because you did it twice.
Yeah. Oh, see, he doubled his number.
Huh?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, excellent. So that's the end of our first round. So far, we have Fred in the lead with 30, Goldyn following close behind with 29, and Lisa with 28. So the rules state that the winner of each round picks the category for the next round. So
I think it should be the loser. Really?
Of course you do. But we are going to go with the winner. We're going to go with the winner. So Fred, it's up to you to pick another category.
All right, can we have the board again, Lisa?
And share another story with us.
Okay, here we go.
All right, let's do Show Me Your Money. I know we just had money, but that was quantum.
Use my money story. I have more.
I'm sure you have more. Yeah. So, yeah, let's do Show Me the Money, but maybe someone else should start this time.
Okay. Lisa, are you ready?
Well, Fred is deferring, so let's go with the loser of the first round, Miss Lisa Jones. And I'm just
now
kidding.
You're coming.
You're not a loser. You said it first.
The loser of the first round.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
All
okay.
Right.
And now my mind is spinning because I'm like, what's a good, because this happens to me all the time, the whole even Steven thing, right? It always comes back. And And it's money is so weird to me because I've never been without. And when my husband died, I didn't realize, but he had a double life insurance policy. So I became this millionaire. But even that is like, it's never enough. When's enough? And then with this whole crazy ups and downs with the stock market, it's been fluctuating and making me a little nervous and everything. But I mean, so really a cool story that just happened. I think it was just even in the last 3 or 4 months, maybe it's now been 6 with this whole COVID thing. I've kind of lost where we are in time, but my daughter was planning her wedding, and she was nervous about it, just saying, well, we just don't have enough money and this and that. And I just said, sweetheart, stop thinking about the money. Like, let's just focus on what do you want? Do you want to get married or do you not? Because the money that's a side issue and it'll just show up. And it that's not the reason to make your decision. And so she finally decided, and she called me. She's like, yeah, you know what? I really decided I'd like to do that. And I said, okay, great. Well, I'm happy to offer you $15,000 to put towards your budget. And she's just like, oh my God, that's so exciting. And I said, yeah, see, the money is, that's part of it. And then sure enough, she called her future in-laws, and they anteed up another sum, and my ex-husband anteed up another sum. So boom, the money was not an issue. But as I was telling Goldyn this story, I said, oh wait, there's somebody at the door. And I went out, and it was the FedEx guy, and he handed me an envelope, and I opened it up, and there was a $15,000 check that I had just received kind of just out of the blue. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I just promised my daughter $15,000 and here it is. So yeah, that's my show me your money story.
Nice.
Steven.
Yes.
Well, that's fantastic. So let's start this round of judging with Diane. Diane, what do you think about Lisa's show me your money story?
I don't want you to think I only have 10s over here. So I'm going to go with a 9. I love the story. I love that it shows that when you're generous with your money too, it does come back, and that it just funnels in. But I love the story. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
So I'm giving you a 9.
Excellent. All right. Well, that's a great start. A 9. Let's mix it up. Let's go with Pete on the next judge.
Well, again, it's a great story. And I love the fact that you were so natural with your daughter when she was so worried about the wedding and everything else. And you just said, don't worry about the money. Just worry, think about what you want to do. Do you want to get married? And she said yes. And then you immediately, were there manifesting for her. And then that started the ball rolling. And then all of a sudden, today or yesterday or whenever, the universe just gave it back. You weren't expecting it. You didn't ask for it. But the universe just said, well, this is how it works. And you know that. And because of your attitude towards that and the fact that it happened and you got it back, I'm going to give you a 10 because I can't find a fault. I can't find fault with that.
Thank you, Pete. I love you, Pete.
Another perfect score. All right, Petey, what do you got?
I'm going to give it an 8. What I loved about it was just the focus on money, aside from, being a physical matter, what it can physically do, just energetically, the flow, in and out, coming and going all the time. Again, if we're open to it and allowing it to do its thing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Awesome. Excellent. So it gives us a score of 27. Great job, Lisa. Great story. And thanks everybody for your valuable input. So why don't we go to Goldyn next?
Between 2 stories, I'm trying to decide which one's the more impressive one. I'm going to go with the one that's probably, I like the lesson in this one. All right. So we moved to California. We are, we just found our apartment. We're trying to find a good job. Michael's looking for work and things are coming, but they're coming slow. And we kind of, we had more bills than we had money at the time. And so every month it was like this, trying to play a game of calling my car company and putting the loan and just like all this, figuring out. So one night I went to Trader Joe's and I had $40 in my bank account. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to buy shrimp and langostinos because we are worth it. And the universe is always flowing money to me. And this is making me feel so abundant. So I get my groceries. It's like almost exactly $40. I'm walking out of the store and I look down and there's $100 bill on the ground. And I picked it up and I looked up and I just knew that it fell out of the sky. And I came home and I showed Michael and he goes, we have nothing to worry about. And that's basically our journey from the time we came here. Things like that happened so often that it would just fuel our faith and kept us going and it helped lead us into a state of abundance, which is where we sit now.
Excellent story, Miss Goldyn. And now we have a vault full of $100 bills. So how about that? They multiplied like bunnies. And well, let's go right to our judges. Let's start this time with Petey.
I'm actually going to give that one a 10 because number one, I've been in that spot. And so I know what that's like. And I've found, money falling out of the sky when, but I could feel that coming off of you as you told that story. And so that's where I'm at.
Those are emotional times. I can feel it now. I'm so grateful that we went through it, and I'm so grateful that we're on the other side.
Man, all right, a perfect score, 10. Great job. How about let's go to Diane next.
Okay. I'm gonna go with a 9.
Okay.
And I do love that story, and I love your faith and knowing that you could spend everything that you had in the bank because you were worth it, knowing that there would be something more. And you had that immediate gratification when you walked out of there and found the $100, and that you looked up and said, thank you. I love that.
Excellent.
My daughter was with me and she goes, Mom, that could have been somebody else's $100. And I go, no, honey, God gave that to me.
That's right. That's right.
All right, we're going to subtract 1 point for that comment. All right, how about you, Pete?
Well, I swear to God, Your Honor, it fell out of the sky. I'm telling the truth. It fell out of the sky, Judge. No, listen. I love that because you had $40 left in your bank account, which is like nothing, and yet you decided that you were just going to go for it. That faithful leap, and get those langostinis and treat yourself, and the universe immediately rewards you. You walk out and there it is on the floor. I mean, that's amazing. God, I just can't get over these stories. They're just so inspiring. And I'm trying to find something that I can criticize and say, no, that I'm going to knock you down one, but I can't. So I'm going to give you a 10, right?
All right.
Ooh, what are you laughing at? I'm giving you a 10. What are you laughing for?
I'm happy.
Do you want a 5? Do you want a 6? I can give you 6. You kind of look totally incredulous, as if, oh, he bought it. He bought the story.
Excellent. All right. Well, that gives Goldyn a score of 29. And let's go to our final contestant for this round, Mr. Fred Dodson.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think the show is working.
Yes.
Right? It's fun. Yeah, it's good. I think it's really entertaining, really good. I wasn't sure, but it's really working well. So, yeah.
Thank you for saying yes, Fred.
Yeah, I'll keep it short. I'll tone it down a bit. Let's see. My poorest point in life was when I was around 20. I'd moved away from home for about a year or two, about a year. I'd been gone, and I was too proud to tell my parents that I didn't have any money. Okay, I didn't want to go begging. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to say, can you give me money? So I sold a jacket so that I could afford something to eat. So I went to this friend and I said, you want to buy this jacket? He said, why would I don't want your filthy old jacket. I said, look, it's worth $300 and I'll give it to you for $100. He said, no, get away with your jacket. I'll give it to you for $50. I was hungry. I didn't have any money at all. Okay. So why would you want to do that? He said, no, I don't want your jacket. I said, I'll give it to you for 10. And then he said, what's going on here? And I said, I don't have any money. So he actually exploited it and bought the jacket for $10, and I went to buy food. Okay, that was the low point in my life, the lowest point ever. And I think the final breakthrough financially was when I was around 31, 32. Where I just decided one day, I just decided to raise my high price from, let's see, my highest coaching price was around $800. And I decided just for fun, okay, to raise it to 5 million, just as a perception game, as if I'm worth 5 million. Okay, if you want the exclusive coaching, the premium, just for fun. And my wife, or my girlfriend back then, she's like, you crazy, you know? And some people who read my website, they questioned it, you know? What's happened to you? What's wrong with you? Oh, you're a sellout, Fred. You've sold out, you know? I said, well, if somebody wants to coach with me for that long, it's worth 5 million. And just that act changed everything, because believe it or not, there's an abundance of rich people out there, and they perceive that as meaning that I'm quality. That's their perception. If I'm too cheap, they don't even perceive me. They don't care. Okay, so I didn't get the 5 million, but But I got somebody only 2 weeks later, after putting that price there. 2 weeks later, I got somebody to give me 90,000. Okay, for a 1 month coaching. 1 month. I don't do that anymore. I now do, for 3 months, I do 10,000, because I just don't like the feeling of asking 90,000. I just don't like it. It's however, that person gave me $90,000 for 1 month of coaching. And that was the most money I had ever made up to then. That's almost more money than I made across several years. Okay, and then I realized, wait a minute, wow, that's just because I changed a number on my website. That's how perception works, you know? I haven't changed. I'm still the same person. You know, I'm just this kid trying to make my way in life. All I did was go on a website and change a number. And that changed everything. That act changed my whole life. Indeed, ask and it is given. You know, I had never made that money because I never asked for it. So 90,000 makes 5 million look like a bargain. The person thought they were getting a bargain, you know. This guy costs 5 million. I'm getting him for 90,000. Whereas in reality, I was like, to my girlfriend, I can't believe this. I was shaking. Okay, 90,000 for one coaching. He's gonna transfer the money. He's gonna transfer it. And my girlfriend was like, nah, I don't believe you. Nah. And then I showed her, look, he transferred. Can you believe it? Really, for real. And that was that was about 14 years ago, I guess. And ever since then, since that change in perception, it's been very, very easy. But up until that point, you know, I was always struggling and trying to get the money and make the money. And then eventually I realized I'm not really into money all that much. Once you know how to attract it anytime, make it, you realize what's more important than that. And I don't understand people that are still really into money, you know, knowing that it's easy to make.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So many profound thoughts, and
So
No
many.
kidding. That is amazing.
So good.
I'm going to give you a 10 on that, Fred.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, wait, I'm not at
That
this.
doesn't count, but yeah.
Well, let's go to our actual judges.
Oh,
And
okay.
let's start with Diane this time.
Yes, for sure a 10. And there's
Well, thank you.
so many things to think about. For me, you hit me very hard with this one in many ways. One, the beginning is, I can feel what you were like at that age. You can actually feel that the way you described that story at the very beginning. But I loved what you said about ask and it is given. And ask for it is so important. And sometimes I forget to do that. It's something I talk about, but sometimes I forget to do it. I also find it hard to ask in my line of work I tend to go low because I don't want to charge too much. And this is for tutoring.
Just being humble,
Yes. And so
But-
that this really hit me because that's where I'm at.
Yeah, but you can be too humble as well.
Yes.
That would be
And
true.
so, and I want to,
Yeah.
and I want to help. So I have to struggle through that. So this was super important to me. So definitely a 10. Thank you.
Well, thank you
for the story.
Awesome.
Excellent. Okay, let's go to Pete.
Well, yes, I agree with more or less everything that Diane said. Because like Diane, I tend to, go low when it comes to, the horoscopes that I do, the birth chart interpretations that I do for people. And, people are always saying to me, that you need to go higher than that. You're better than that. You've been doing it for 50 years, and you should go higher. But there's always that like little resistance in me to actually like doubling the price or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But what Fred talked about there, it really shows that sometimes when you just do it, and don't think about it, sometimes the universe says, finally, you get it, right? Stop being such a wuss. Go for it. We'll give it to you. So I love that. I love the fact that, from those very lowly beginnings, that desperate time of your life, you never gave up. You never thought this is where I'm just going to end up being for the rest of my life. There's no point trying. You actually decided to go for the brass ring, and the universe gave you a gold one. And I love that. And I'm going to give you another 10.
Thank you.
Excellent.
You're welcome.
Another perfect score.
Right.
Thanks for that, Pete. Now let's go to Petey. What do you got, Petey?
I'm giving that a 10 too, because it.
Thank you.
Because I've been there selling all your stuff for food and all that, and then for me, I've always just been okay with being able to pay my bills. Money's never been a big thing for me, but the security that it brings is. But it's something I'm trying to raise the bar for myself. So I absolutely love the declaration of worthiness in that. Like, you didn't put 50,000 or 500, you put 5 million. And why not? And so I absolutely love, just like I said, the declaration of worthiness. I'm worth it, and it'll be proven to me, and it was.
And my favorite line from that is, I decided. I made a decision. And I say that all the time to people. You have to just decide, and then you work from your identity from that decision. And that was really cool.
Yeah, it changed me because it forced me to improve myself to be worth those amounts,
Right.
It became my identity.
Well, and I love too what you said is about just adding, you just added a 0 or whatever, you just changed the number. It was a number, and it completely shifted your entire life, and that's just brilliant.
Wow. Fantastic. All right. Do you guys think we have time for one more?
One last.
Okay.
One last short. Let's do some short.
Yeah,
let's do quickies. A quickie round.
Quickie round. Okay, we're in the quickie round.
Quickie round.
Right.
Fred, go ahead and pick, as the winner of the last round, you get to pick the category for the final round.
Out of thin air.
Out of thin air. This should be good. So, Fred, would you like to go first, or would you like to defer your?
I'd love to defer.
There you go. So let's go with Miss Goldyn. Lisa started last round, so let's start with Miss Goldyn Duffy as our lead off on the final round.
Wow.
Out of thin air. Out of thin air.
Yeah, I knew he was going to pick me, and I have.
I picked you out of thin air.
That's how I felt last time too. I'm like,
That's why I'm deferring.
I know. And my $100 falling out of the sky would have been a really good one for right now.
All right, how about this?
Okay.
I'd like to do one quick thing here because
Okay.
I had this will give you a moment, Goldyn, to think of a
Thank
story.
you.
So start thinking. Fred, I had a question for you about the last story that you shared. It just came to me at the very end. I was wondering, and I think you sort of addressed it. I just wanted to clarify. Do you think that by making that proclamation, that statement of what your worth was, that you were that already, or that it forced you to become that?
I was that already, but it forced me to become more of that and show more of that, of what I already was.
So it just confirmed for you, especially I can imagine when someone actually said yes, and I loved the enthusiasm that you were sharing with us when you were, telling us how you were talking to your girlfriend, like, no, he really is. Look,
Well, I was nervous. I was
Yeah.
so nervous to even receive the money, which showed me that I didn't quite feel up to that vibration yet. Meanwhile, if I get 90,000, I'm like, yeah, whatever. So that's the ideal state. Yeah, whatever. But I was shaking. And if you're shaking, it means you're not up to the vibration yet. So I wasn't quite there yet, but I was worthy enough to receive it. I was there maybe 50%, which is enough to get it.
Exactly.
But only with a lot of tension, and the whole coaching was kind of tense because I felt I need to perform, I've gotten rid of that too, meanwhile, but there was so much tension in that coaching because I'd never received that, and I felt guilty and ashamed and whatnot, and all that could be released in the process of doing that work. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally
So
get it.
it not only were you helping your client at the time, but it greatly helped you at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Okay, so Goldyn Duffy, are you ready to tell us a story out of thin air? Let's hear it.
Out of thin air. Okay. So many years ago, Michael and I were in a network marketing company, and they had announced this trip to Hawaii. So we had to qualify for it, but the gist was you had to pay for your flights and a few other things. So you had to get there, and then you had to pay for all your food and things while you were there. So we start telling people that we're going to Hawaii. We have no idea how we're going to pay for flights. This is back like 2009. We were still really dealing with that financial strain and stress. So we just keep telling people we're going to Hawaii. We have no idea how we're getting there. I'm lining up babysitters. I don't even know how I'm going to pay my babysitters. And we're just in total faith that we're going to go. And I remember we even went to a meetup group, like an Abraham Hicks meetup group. And I remember we were acting as if, and I remember Michael doing this thing where he answered the phone and said, oh my gosh, we just won a trip to Hawaii, and telling everyone that we were going to Hawaii. So 3 weeks before the trip, we still have no idea how we're getting there, but we're going. We're driving in the car, and all of a sudden we get this phone call from this gentleman who we were in the business with that knew us, kind of knew our story, didn't know we didn't have tickets yet. And he said, I want to pay for your trip to Hawaii. And then we bought the tickets, it actually enabled us to stop in California, which we had never been before, which kind of led to this dream. And when we got to Hawaii, our CEO gave us $1,000 spending money. People were treating us left and right. No one really knew how poor we were because we didn't really share the real, gist of our lives. We just were happy and just kept going. And we had people paying for horseback riding. We had people paying for our meals, and we had an incredible trip. So that was kind of out of thin air.
Wow.
Wow, that's a great story. And yes, I actually was part of that story, and I remember that phone call and we were driving somewhere, and put it on speaker, and just listening to this guy. That was literally out of thin air. He just called and offered to pay for our trip, and we were flabbergasted. So that's a great story. But you know what? For the real story, let's go to our judges. Let's start with Diane this time.
Well, I'm going to end that with a 10. I love that story for so many reasons. I love that you said total faith. It's one of my favorite things about you. I love that you guys acted out the phone call, and then that's exactly how it happened.
I know, right?
I mean, come on.
I know.
And then how everyone was treating you. I'll pay for your horseback. I'll pay for this. I'll pay for that. I want to do that right now.
That's great.
That's an awesome story. I love it.
It's an awesome story. And real quick, because I know this is a final round, but the acting of the phone call was such an inspired moment. Like she said, we were at an Abraham Hicks meetup group, and it was this visualization game that we were doing around the room. So I had this idea, and what I did is underneath the table while someone else was talking, I set my phone to start ringing in about a minute because I knew my turn was coming up. So I just started talking, and all of a sudden my phone started ringing. I was like, oh my God, everybody, I'm so sorry, but I got to take this call. And I just took the call and kind of acted the whole thing out.
Oh my God.
That's really that's one of the secrets, I think. And as Fred mentioned in the first story, helping people visualize and setting intentions and really feeling the way that it feels to do what you say you want to do. And that was amazing. That was really great. So let's go to Petey for our next score.
I'm going to give that a 10.
Yeah.
Because I love, just the faith in it, and just, to me, what I got out of that was, don't be so locked into how something is going to happen. Just know it is, and be open to whatever comes your way. And I think a lot of times we get so, locked into how we think it should go.
Yeah.
And you got to kind of skip the should, and just, this is how it's going to end up. And there we go. So that's a perfect story for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Petey. And let's wrap it up with Pete.
Well, Goldyn, you're not being fair, because I keep trying to think of some reason why I want to knock you down a couple of pegs. And you just keep knocking it out the park. And I think you've been rehearsing this. You thought he's going to get me, but you have. I loved it because of that faith. And I loved the way that Michael was there, and he was doing all this thing on the phone, acting as if it's already happened. I love that concept.
Yeah.
Just act as if it's already happened. Don't question how it's going to happen. It's already happened. Believe it. Act like you have it. Yep. And then just this, suddenly out of nowhere, you get an offer. You just get this guy say, I want to pay for your trip. I mean, how crazy is that? Give me his phone number.
Yeah. All right. So
great story.
Great story. And what was your score again, Pete?
6. No, 10.
6.
10.
Got it.
Solid 10. Solid 10.
All right. A solid 10.
He's adding up the score wrong.
Okay, I got you. Okay, let's go to Lisa for her out of thin air story. Let's hear it from Lisa.
Okay, well, this is kind of a follow-up and just like out of thin air, completely blew me away. So I came back from my trip for the 6 weeks in Hawaii to test it out, and while I was here, I mean, just all these amazing things kept happening. I mean, for example, I was introduced. I went out on a whale watch, and somebody I met there said, "Oh, I hang out with Ram Dass, who is a major spiritual leader who recently passed." And I said, "Oh, wow, I'd really be interested if there's, any opportunity to meet him." And he said, "Oh, well, it just happens that somebody said they're doing a big show next week as a fundraiser, and I heard there was an extra ticket. So would you be interested?" And I said, "Oh, absolutely." So the night I met him, I was given the ticket, and I walked in, and it turned out to be the caretaker of Ram Dass's extra ticket. So I got to sit next to Ram Dass for the total time, the 3 hours. I was just like, oh my gosh, what is happening right now? So that happened. I ended up meeting somebody who was moving off island, and she was a co-host on a TV show. And she said, "Oh, I want to introduce you to somebody." And so it turned out I got to take over being the co-host of the TV show. And so again, all these amazing things were happening while I was on Maui. And I flew home, and it was actually April 1st, April Fool's Day. And I should have known something was going to go bad. But my husband picked me up from the airport. We went home, and I was telling him all this amazing stuff. And I said, "So yeah, it's a go. Let's go. I'm so excited." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not moving." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I think we've just, your spirituality went this way. And I just like to drink beer and, play golf and not do the spiritual thing." And I'm like, "Oh my God." But I just said, "I got to go. You're right. I got to go." And it was a really beautiful parting of the ways. So within 6 weeks, we put the house on the market. I sent like 10 boxes to Hawaii, got in my car, started driving across the country. I was in Missouri, I think, and I just started crying. And I'm just like, oh my God, did I make the right choice? Did I make the right choice? Oh my God. And right then there was a slowdown in traffic, and right in front of me was this sign. I don't know if you can see. I can't see.
Yeah, I can
No.
And it says,
Conflict.
"Best choice, the right choice." I can't see my screen.
I love conflicts.
I love that.
There we go. You can see that now.
Wow, that's amazing.
So best choice, the right choice. And then I was telling a friend about that, and they were so impressed. They actually, they said, "Oh, can you send me that picture?" So I sent it to him. He printed it out and sent me it in a frame. So now I have it on the side of my bed of making the right choice.
Awesome.
So
That's
out of
awesome.
thin air, this truck just appeared right as I was saying, "Did I make the right choice?"
That's right. And it sounds like it was the right choice. Things are going very well for you on Maui.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's hear from our judges. This time, let's start with Pete.
Lisa, I knew you were going to tell that story. I just knew that was going to be it. I thought she's going to give us the right choice one.
I've heard, you've heard it before, Pete.
I've heard it a couple of times, but I was very attentive. I listened again. And as I'm listening, I'm sort of saying to the universe, how would Simon Cowell score this? What would he do? And this very deep sort of voice in my head said, "He would give her a 10, son. Give her a 10. So I'm giving her a 10. I'm doing what my guides are telling me to do.
Thank
I'm
you.
trusting that
I
they're
appreciate
correct.
it. I'm the underdog. You got to root for the underdog.
That's right. Let's hear from Petey next.
I'm going to give it a 10 too, because it's a reminder that all the time these signs are there, the support is there, the encouragement is there, the messages are there if you're open to receive them. And I mean, you could have followed that truck for miles and never saw that if you were open for that message. And I think that's big.
It's huge. Great point, Petey. And let's hear from Diane, our last judge here for Lisa.
All right, Lisa.
Yay!
I love it. And it's just so amazing that these miracles happen. It's truly amazing. And a few things from that story. One is that an ending became a new and better beginning for you. And also, I'm going to go back to what she was just saying with, you said something specific. Oh, did I make the right choice? And then you get a very specific sign. It's truly amazing. It truly is. And it just gives me so much hope.
Mm-hmm. I when I saw best choice, right choice, I mean the word choice twice on a sign,
right.
Like literally a sign right in front of my face. After I just begged, I was like just sobbing in the car. Did I make the right choice? Boom.
I mean that's truly amazing. It's beyond
good stuff.
Thank you.
Not only did you make the right choice, but you made the best choice. All right. So because of that choice, you got a perfect score in that round. Congratulations. And let's wrap up this final round of Out of Thin Air with Mr. Fred Dodson.
Awesome.
You're up, Fred.
Yeah, so I was married twice. And the first marriage was manifested It was visualized. It was acted out. You know, I prepared my place at home as if I was going to get to know her. I visualized her. I put pictures. I tore pictures out of magazines and put them in this box, you know, Abraham Hicks style. And she did show up. And eventually we got married, but it didn't work out in the end. You know, we broke up after about 9 years. And my second wife was not manifested, it was predestined. And that got me thinking that maybe there's a higher level than manifesting. Maybe there's a pre-life manifesting, something I intended before I even came. And the reason I know it was predestined is because throughout childhood and as a teenager, I dreamed of her. I saw her in my dreams. I saw her face, how she acted, how she sounded, how she talked. I knew her. Okay, and as a teen, I always knew that's the one, and I knew she's somewhere, and that's just the one, you know. And then there was a point in my first marriage where I looked at my wife with this, and it dawned on me that that's just not the one, you know, and never will be. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm sorry, it's not the one. Okay. She knew it. I knew it.
Wow.
Not the one. And I had already divorced and forgotten all about the one I had dreamed of in childhood. I'd forgotten all about her. You know, I didn't even believe in the concept of soulmate anymore. I'd given up on it. And then out of thin air, there she was, and it was shocking. So she attended one of my seminars, and I was just shocked when she came in. I couldn't. I just stood there frozen. Okay, I was like, oh my God. And I knew instantly that moment, in my mind, I knew that's the one. There she is. That's her.
Wow.
She didn't know it though, but I knew it.
Wow, that is great.
She told me she did not know it. And there she was out of thin air. I'd forgotten all about her. And then all these memories came back. And the tragic thing was I didn't catch her name. And it was a large group training. There were hundreds of people in it. And I just didn't catch her name, and I was so sorry that I let her go. You know, I thought, oh my goodness, there she was. That was her, and I just let her go. I missed my chance and all that.
Oh, no.
And she contacted me back then on Facebook, actually, and for a chat, you know, and she said, you don't remember me, but, and I said, I know exactly who you are. Okay, that's what I said to her. I know exactly who you are. And eventually we got married, and that'll be the last wife in this life. I told her we'll be together for about 500 years, and that's enough then, you know. Yeah, for 500 years is enough.
Wow.
So that's a bit different than manifesting. That's something that seemed to have been pre-manifest, predetermined somehow. That was great. Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
And I totally
Beautiful.
believe it, because I used to dream about Michael when I was 10 years old. I totally get it. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. And he didn't know it either. Took me 4 years to get him to know it.
I still question it sometimes.
Yeah, my wife still doesn't believe it. Actually,
She doesn't believe it.
Yeah, but I believe it. That's what counts.
That's all that counts.
That's right.
Exactly.
I say, how could it be me? Really?
Really.
Anyway, let's go to our judges to hear what they have to say.
That was such a beautiful story.
It was.
I love it.
Diane, let's start with Diane on this one.
Okay. Well, here's a big surprise. It's a
She
10.
lost all her other numbers, I think.
Thank you.
I think I did. No, it was just it was a story of hope. It was just so hopeful, and sorry, it's a very sweet story. It's a really wonderful story, and I love that you think it was predestined too, and I believe you can look in somebody's eyes and look at somebody and know. I definitely believe that. And that was a really beautiful story. I loved it. Very hopeful.
That's terrific. Thank you, Diane. And let's go to Pete.
I love that story too. I totally relate with it. It's, you know, the predestination idea, definitely relate to that. And, you know, the fact that even as a teen, you knew who she was, you knew what she looked like, you visualized her, you know, and okay, the first one that came along wasn't her, but that didn't stop you. You know, it didn't stop the universe from bringing her to you eventually. It took patience, it took faith, and it took just knowing. And I loved it. And not just because I want to be consistent throughout the whole night, but because I loved it so much, I'm going to give you a 10.
Thanks.
You believe that, you believe anything.
Another perfect score. Well, let's wrap up this final round with Petey.
I'm going to give it a 10.
Yay.
Because, you know, I've manifested some pretty bad relationships. You know, where you've manifested this person, but it doesn't turn out the way you thought. So I get that. But then I've had, you know, a handful of experiences with other souls where, you know, the second, like Diane said, the second you lay eyes on them, you know that this was predestined. And so your story, Fred, gives me hope that maybe there's someone out there for me that I'm predestined for, and I need to just stop trying to manifest these people.
Wow, that's a great take on that story. Thanks, everybody. Well, as you all know, that was our final round. So we have to tabulate our scores and award the crown to our Master Manifestor. So let me go through our scores here, and let's just make an announcement. Coming in third place with an amazing score, by the way. All these scores are amazing, and I just want to say all the stories were fantastic and inspirational. But Lisa comes in at third with 85 points. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And what I love the most is I am not competitive, so I love being in third.
Oh, we're all winners.
Look at you.
We're all winners.
Well,
I get a trophy, right?
I know, yeah, sure.
Participation trophy for everybody.
I know that our second place contestant is very competitive, but I think she's going to be okay with this. She got an amazing score of 88. So congratulations to Miss Goldyn Duffy. And finally, I just want to say thank you to our guest and to our champion, our Master Manifestor, Mr. Fred Dodson. Congratulations.
Woo! Yeah, I had to share things I'm normally reluctant to share. Okay, that's at the expense of my privacy.
Yes,
well, we
appreciate it,
Fred, we do. It's a lesson and some stories that I'm sure most of us will never forget. Myself for sure. I'm grateful to be a part of it. It was great. Thank you.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great show. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
great
Fred,
idea.
so much.
Gosh,
Yes.
And I hope you guys, I hope you ladies keep it up.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Fred, I don't know if you heard, but both Goldyn and I were meditating on the same morning, and we both got the name of the game show. At this, I texted her after my meditation and said, "Oh my God, I know the name." And I told her, and she's like, "Oh my God, I got the same name in my meditation." So I thought that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, it was inspired.
It was predestined.
It was
well, and I didn't think of this until just now, but if you guys look up my Google profile, I'm listed as a Master Manifestor.
Really, I did not know.
I crowned myself that, but still.
The king of parking spaces, right?
Yeah, see, she knows.
Yeah, I know.
She knows. That's right.
That's right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us on this for this special edition of the Real Ones, and especially to Fred. Thank you so much. This was so fun, and thank you for sharing such intimate details about your life. I know that again, those stories have helped so many people, and will continue to help them as they listen to this amazing, fun time. And for our judges, thank you for your time being here.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Loved your insights, and wow, this was just so much fun.
Super fun.
Really enjoyed it. It was great fun.
Awesome.
All right.
Love
We'll
you all.
wrap it up. We love you all.
Thank you.
Aloha.
All right.
Thanks for being with
So,
us. Love you.
Am I dismissed now?
Yes. There you go.
Thank you, Fred. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
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 All right. We are still on live Facebook, so if we want to have any discussion, and then we can also go off live and go to our bonus of YouTube, whatever people would like to do. Should we just say bye to Facebook and then just have a little wrap up on YouTube?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, say bye, everybody,
Bye,
to
Facebook.
Facebook.
Thanks for being with us. We had some people there. That was so fun.
That was great. All right, stop live stream. All right, wow, that was just amazing. Thank you, everybody.
My cheeks
was really
are
good.
smiling.
I would love to hear like your takeaways or what kind of, you know, what came through for you guys.
I just
Everything
thought
was
everything.
inspiring. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Diane.
I just thought everything was so inspiring and uplifting and fun. I could do this every day. I could be a judge on this, but I'm sorry that this is my only number. Because the stories are so good. I had a lot of fun. That was wonderful.
Awesome.
Good.
I think it's a great way to, for people to share their experiences, because I don't know about anybody else, but like there's days where you really got to fight to like keep yourself at the right vibration, and you, not that you doubt that, I don't know. I mean, shit happens in everybody's day, and you just start to doubt, like, am I on the right track? And so to hear stories like that, I think really, help. I mean, I write them down and then I read them, or I go back and watch them, and it's like, no, this does work this way. This is going to happen. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yes, I agree. It's like very, very inspiring. It fills me with a sense of faith and hope that things will turn out for me the way I'm trying to manifest them. And, again, I think Diana touched on it when she said that, actually recounting a lot of these stories, sometimes it can be painful. I mean, I get the feeling sometimes with Fred that, it's not an easy process to recount some of these stories, because you can be sort of revealing your soul a little bit to total strangers.
And Fred is a super private guy. Like that was
I got that.
His world that I don't know that he's ever let anyone do before. So I'm so floored that we were able to.
Yeah, I mean,
I was actually wondering, does he realize this is live on the internet?
Yeah,
or?
yeah, we told him.
Yeah,
Okay.
And the fact that he was able to tell these stories, especially the one about the girl in China.
Yeah.
The North Korea thing. I mean, that was just unbelievable that he did that. And
that was
that he
super
willing
special.
to share that story.
Well, and what I really appreciated was each of you sharing what you got out of each story.
The perfect judges.
That was, no, that was really powerful, because I think, just to get different people's perspectives of hearing the story, we don't realize when we're sharing our stories, like to hear the immediate feedback from it is it's so affirming also to be like wanting to share the stories, because you kind of start to forget about them or whatever.
And I are just talking to a computer screen. We don't really know anybody's
exactly. Right.
Well, I want to make sure I understand about the China thing, and I didn't want to ask on live thing and get too in depth. Like, was he like physically there with her when she escaped, or was he coaching her through it to manifest?
He was coaching her, and then he went there after she had.
That's what that's what I thought.
Yeah,
and I just didn't want to. I don't want the.
That was mind blowing.
CIA showing up at the doorstep to give him.
Yeah, that's a good question, Petey, because I was thinking he was there actually taking her on the trail, but you're right. I don't think, because he said later he went back.
There.
That's what I'm saying. So like, how do you explain to like the Chinese government that like, no, I didn't carry her over the border. I did it with my mind,
Right,
I did it with my mind.
Understand that, right?
I mean, that should be made into a movie by Clint Eastwood.
For real.
Right.
For real.
Yeah.
Michael Duffy.
Michael Duffy as
a perfect MC.
Yes.
Oh, he was awesome.
Good job,
Let's give
Mike.
a round of applause to Michael.
Yeah, kept it moving.
So happy you were here. Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you get out of it, Michael?
Is he there?
He's frozen.
Is he listening to
There you
Did he
go.
leave us?
He might have left.
maybe
I think he's frozen.
This
Yeah.
is Michael's phone.
Well, thank
Well,
God that happened during the show.
Yeah, no.
You know what, you guys, I don't want to forget to say this. It's
Yeah.
so important. I'm sorry, am I on?
Are you
It's so important to share the manifestation stories because they help everyone else to try to manifest. So not just saying how to manifest, but the actual story.
Yeah, the ins and the outs of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was our intention with this whole game, was to be able to teach through a really fun exercise. And I think we nailed it.
Right. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael, are you there? Now he's turned sideways.
It's like a GQ look, you know.
That's a cold shoulder. All right. Well,
That's funny.
It's like a meerkat.
You're here.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Michael was such a great MC. He really stepped into his role and played that part. Excellent. And
Our improv classes are paying off.
that's right. That's right. Well, thank you guys. This was
They are.
amazing.
Thank you so much
I mean,
for including us.
It's
Thank
inspired
you.
me to my next manifestation is going to be a light over my head for crying
There
out
you
loud
go.
next time.
Actually, Pete, I just saw it today, Pete. They're on Amazon. I'll send you it in Messenger. There's a light that you can get for your camera, and it just clicks onto your camera. I mean, on your computer. You just put it on your computer, and a light is on you. So that would work really well, I think, for you. We're gonna do that.
Okay, I'll manifest that. Right.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, we're going to close off the YouTube
All right.
and say thank you, everyone, for listening.
Love
And
you.
then, but you guys
Thank
stay
you.
on for 1 second. 1 second. Stay
Thank you
there.
so much for including me. I really had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
You're really a
Well
great
done.
judge. You guys were so perfect.